Alright guys, well, doesn't look that much less crowded. It is the middle of the day. It's just before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're in the black hydronaut, by the way. Nakano's straight ahead. Alright, so I think I can lose the mask. You know, the mask is kind of a pain because it sort of rides up and sort of hits me right under the eye. I find myself adjusting it, and that's the whole point, is really to keep your hands off your face. And of course it's got to block particles, but I find it counterproductive if I have to adjust it so much. So I just washed my hands. I think that's the most important thing. Washing your hands regularly. Okay, let's get a mask count here. And it looks to be about less than at Tokyo Station. I would say, wow, 60 to 70% of the people have masks, and quite a few don't. Yeah, all right, there you go. All right, so let's take a moment to enjoy this beautiful warm sun on my back, and then head right over there to see the watch shops. Are we gonna find cheap prices there? I'm thinking no, and I'll tell you why. Stock isn't coming from Switzerland, and that means flippers aren't flipping. And that means I think they're holding their pieces. The one thing that I think would force them to drop prices is if they just need to pay rent, and you've got nobody buying their watches, and they just think, well, you know, we could either drop prices or we got to close the shop permanently. But see, here's the thing. I think rent landlords, or you know, whoever owns these shops, not the shop but the property, I think they're probably cutting some slack right now because nobody's coming from outside of Japan to go watch shopping, and I think, you know, everybody knows that. So I think my guess is it's not dog eat dog enough for them to have to drop prices, and I think they're waiting it out because this will get better, and when it does, things will go back to normal. So the last thing they want to do is sell a Panda, a ceramic Daytona for $18,000, that cheap. No way. No, they got to get over 20 for it. So I don't think we're going to see anything different, to be honest, but let's check it out. Middle of the afternoon on Wednesday, and it looks just like it always does, just as busy. In fact, I think I've been here when it's not been as busy, so it doesn't seem like the beer virus is keeping people out. Right, I wanted to check this place out, check out some Seikos, because a viewer sent me $10 to try and help him source a JDM Seiko, a Japanese domestic market Seiko, the SARB 037, which is like a pink salmon dialed SARB. And I was gonna stop there and see if they would have it possibly, but you know, I don't think that's a watch you're gonna find being sold new. It's I think it was sold a couple of years ago, and so I think any that you find is going to be on the used gray market, or just probably the used market, but they're hard to come by. And does anybody really need a pink SARB? Well, I think it's the rarity that's driving the desire for this watch, but this viewer seems to think is what he wants, so I'm going to try to help him find one if I can. Not there, though. These are all the modern steel professional models that they had. Just 3 current production GMTs, a back roll of Pepsi, and a root beer. Some neo vintage models, including 3 all blacks and just 1 Batman. These are all Milgaus's, 2 Z blues, the rest are all black, and to the right, that's an Air King. And hey, Bud the Stud. And the shop staff got off the phone and busted me. Look at the prices of these brand new 5-digit pieces. Blue tags mean brand new, orange tags mean pre-owned. All right, guys, so 1 BLNR, 1 BLRO, that's it. They had one Batman as well. So really slim pickings there. Now, he said the prices have come down a little bit, but the BLRO, which usually sells for about 20, was going for like 19, so maybe like 1,000 off, not much. The Batman, you know, the discontinued Batman was, I want to say, 17, 18,000. The BLNR was 14 to 15. I mean, depending on tax or no tax, whether you can, as a tourist, show your passport and pay tax-free. I think the most surprising thing was a brand new Kermit, 35,000 USD. I mean, brand spanking new. And they had some 5-digit subs, some 5-digit date subs and some 5-digit no date subs. And basically the prices are about 10,000 more than you would get the pre-owned pieces for. So I guess if you're loaded and you just have to have that brand new, you know, 5-digit, unpolished, brand new, I mean, why not? Why not? If you got the money, why not? But yeah, so prices have come down like a smidgen, but still, I mean, they're still feeling like gray market prices. I mean, not, you know, you can't really get a deal of any sort. But I was surprised at how few models they had. This Omega Apnea has been there for years. It just cannot find a home. Very interesting dive watch. An Omega Dynamic, that secondhand placement had me thinking it was a chronograph, but it wasn't. Right, so this Shoten guy that I'm walking through, I kind of know this as Nakano Broadway. This whole area is Nakano Broadway, but I just kind of realized I think this actual building in front of me is the true Nakano Broadway. Let's check it out. That's an OP39 and a 36mm date just Jubilee bracelet, smooth bezel, silver dial. Really pretty. It's another 36mm date just, white dial, Romans, Jubilee bracelet, and yet another date just. And a 42mm black dialed Explorer 2 and an Explorer 39. Trying on the OP39mm. You know, you can't find these at the AD these days here in Japan, so you got to come here to try them on. Now, the real action was happening to my left. I'll tell you about that in a second. Looking great. Hey, I think 39mm OPs are cool with me. And here's a shot from the side. That on my finger that I'm trying to stealthily cover up and get rid of is callus. I play guitar. Anyway, this has a thinness of 11.4mm, and that's even thinner than the 36 and 34mm OP. Whenever you see two prices, the cheaper one's without tax, and that's because tourists don't have to pay sales tax if they show their passport. Now, have you guys been noticing those red sales tags? Now, the sale price, you can't get tax off, and of course, tourists aren't coming to Japan right now, so that sale price is for people living in Japan, like me. That is a beautiful Yachtmaster. So are prices cheaper for us locals now? A little bit, but you're still better off taking your foreign friend shopping with his foreign passport, if you know what I mean. The discontinued SD4000 to the right of that was a red SD. Notice the little pieces of paper on the dial to cover up the serial numbers. A lot of people think that's to protect from Chinese counterfeiters, but I think it's to protect the sources of these watches. Up top is a black ceramic Daytona, and that's reserved. Somebody's thinking of getting that piece. And to the left, a white dial Daytona, and these go for quite a bit more. But this one's on sale. They're giving the damn thing away. Here's a precious metal Daytona. No sale price on that. And the Chubb. Even fat watches need love. Nah, this gets plenty of love. Don't think it doesn't. Okay, that was kind of interesting. Just new pieces, no GMTs at all. A couple of Daytonas. The black one somebody is thinking about getting. That's a cheaper Daytona than the white dial. And the white dial OP does go for more. All right, so that is apparently the one to have. And I'm talking about the 39mm OP. Now, while I was in there, a young guy I wanted to say a kid, but he has a GMT, walked in there, and it looks like he's trying to sell it. And when I was looking at the OP, the guy had the loop out, and he was checking out the card, not the watch, the card, because the card, if you don't know, has like microscopic things that you can only see with a loop, and so that's part of the verification process. It looked to be an oyster braceleted two-tone GMT, so I don't know what he's going to get for it, but yeah, I don't know. Is that his job? How did he come across it? What is he going to get for it? Is he going to hit all these shops? I don't know. I had a million questions, but they were doing their business, so I just minded my own business and looked at the 39mm OP, which looked pretty good on me. I was surprised. I'm kind of coming around to that size.